Canadian team. Now it's Kusha into the center ice area to Tyrkov. In across the line, trying to go for the goal. He is tied up, and the play is whistled down in the Canadian zone, and I think a penalty is coming up here against Team Canada.
Molomé, an unnecessary interference penalty.
Well, the Soviet Union, the gold medalists in all previous World Junior Championships. Sweden, the defending champion, and they were beaten on Wednesday night 3-2 by Team Canada here in the Winnipeg Arena. An interference call against Molomé. However, the Soviet Union is going to be hard-pressed to win that gold medal again, particularly if they don't soon alter the score in this particular contest, because they have already lost a game 3-2 to Czechoslovakia, and it's a straight round-robin tournament. The forechecking of Ekin as he forces Tyrkov to lose control of the puck, and the Soviets have to go back into their own zone to regroup. Semenov working from the corner, finally gets it over to Belov. Lead pass into the center ice area, knocked away by the Canadians, and the Canadians just waiting, killing off those seconds before firing it down the ice. Now it's Morrison picking it up in the corner. Morrison trying to feed it out front. And finally the Soviets start back. The pass on the right side for Vasiliev. In across the line to Semenov. Shot saved by Moffat. And he hangs on for the whistle.
Great save by Moffat, who has just been outstanding this period. And a good shot by Semenov. Here we'll pick it up in the replay. A good play by Vasiliev. He drops it over to Semenov. And Semenov has enough room. Good save by Moffat. Comes out to cut the angle down and does not let the rebound go.
Well, if he was having some problems with the rebounds in the first period, he has certainly corrected his style here in the second. The shots on goal 20-13 in favor of Team Canada. Butcher clears it along the boards, but not out. It's kept in by Biakin. Biakin racing in from the point. The puck is loose. Back to the line. A shot deflects off the skate to the corner. Kryakin is taken in against the board. Starkov comes in. He gets it back to the line to Kalazov. His shot just wide. It whistles off the boards. Biakin takes a shot off the glass. The Soviets with the man advantage in controlling things. Here's Kalazov trying to move in at the side of the net. It was deflected wide, and finally it's cleared off the boards. Here's a break for Moeller. Moeller going in. He shoots it wide off the glass, as he has the breakaway with 32 seconds remaining.
Tough break for Mike Muller. He had a real good period so far. Here he comes in off the right wing, cuts to the center. So what he should be doing, gets himself so he can shoot all four parts of the net, but puts it over the top of the goal. And here's another one, another look at it from a different angle. With a good move by Mike Muller, but fortunately put it over the top of the net.
So the score remains Canada 3, the Soviet Union nothing, with 32 seconds left in the penalty to Molomé. The face-off in the Soviet zone to the right of Samalov. Along the boards, it's Shapitsyn. He goes rink wide to Dyasov. Roshan dodges a check in the corner from Nyland. And they flip it up along the boards, but icing is called against the Soviet team. Nyland has played a very strong tournament, in the opinion of Dave King, the coach.
Don, he's going to be a very high draft. He was not drafted before because of his age, of course, and because he is going to be a very high draft this year in the amateur draft in June. Plays the Portland Winterhawks, and there's not too many big 6'4" defensemen around. That he's going to be a real good one, Don. He's very young.
An 18-year-old native of Vancouver, Gary Nyland, one of the top players for this Canadian team. He is currently out there on defense with Randy Moeller with 10 seconds remaining in the penalty. And the Canadian team, after surviving some anxious moments in the early seconds of this penalty, now doing a pretty effective job, and they are back at full strength as LeMay comes out of the penalty box. In across the line, Shapitsyn's shot goes off a leg. In the corner, it's Kerry Wilson. Wilson working up to the line, lost it at the line. And Nyland, following up on the play, dumped it to center ice. Now it's Beloff. Back to his own line for Shapitsin. He dodges one check. The puck goes loose, and the Canadian team goes back into its own zone to regroup. Off the boards for Dave Morrison for Wilson. Wilson moving into the slot. He was knocked over, and the loose puck brought out by the Soviets. Shapitsin dodges a check. Tried to feed it on the left wing. Too far for Kadaisov. And as it's touched by the Canadian team, icing is called against the Soviets. Well, let's test your hockey knowledge. In the last decade, only 4 players have been on teams that have won both the Memorial Cup, emblematic of junior hockey supremacy in this country, and the Stanley Cup, the prize in the National Hockey League. Only 4 players. Who are they?
I'll give you a clue. I drafted one of them.
Is he still playing for you?
No, he's not.
Okay, that's another tip.
I want to know, Don, am I old enough to answer that question?
I think you are. I think you are, Gary. Here's a chance for Team Canada. Ryu's shot, and the rebound flipped at the net by Murray. The save by Samolov. Kept in by LeMay. His shot, a glove save by Samolov. He had to do the splits to get that one. Now it's Murray in the corner trying to move out front. They jam away at it at the side of the net. The puck goes loose, back to the line. Murray manages to keep it in. LeMay goes behind the goal, fed it out front. There was nobody there, and the Soviets bring it back. Semenoff overskated it, and LeMay pokes it back into the Soviet zone with 5:47 remaining in this second period. Back to the line for Patrick. Patrick tried to play it to the side of the net. It goes loose out front for Ryu. His shot deflected wide. Again, some good hitting in that Soviet zone as Vasiliev and Murray bumped, and finally LeMay comes in, and they hold it against the boards for a face-off. This line all around that Soviet goal.
They've had a very good coup here. Here's a replay of the last flurry, and LeMay's digging it out. Now watch this chance here by Ryu. Troy Murray now, he forechecks, he bumps in the corner. He's just had an outstanding tournament, like Dave King said this morning. He has been his best forward so far.
Dave King from the University of Saskatchewan coaching this Canadian national junior team and doing a tremendous job with these youngsters. Muller from the faceoff, quick shot, glove save by Samolov. I think it may have gone wide even had he not grabbed it, but it looked spectacular just the same.
We'll catch and look at it, Don, and good shot by Muller off the faceoff. Good save. It may have gone wide, but a quick glove hand.
Now Biakin in his own zone is spun around. Rink-wide pass. You don't see the Soviets do that too often in their own zone. Throw it across the ice. However, they got away with it that time. Now it's Butcher. Off the boards, trying to get it out as the Soviets are applying some pressure here. The puck loose along the boards. Butcher finally plays it off the boards back into the Soviet zone as Kalazov goes back after it. Boutillier intercepts the pass in the center ice area. Knocked down by Priakin. Priakin couldn't go anywhere with it. Now Kalazov will try his luck. He loses it to Habscheid. Habscheid going in, trying to feed it out front for Moeller. Habscheid gets it again for Scott Arneal, and he pokes it wide. This line has had some excellent scoring chances, but so far have been shut out. Now it's Butcher off the boards into the Soviet zone. Kalazov goes into the corner. He's taken in against the boards by Arneal, and they hold it for a face-off. Semenoff with Kuchin and Vasiliev for the Soviets. Habscheid is between Moeller and Arneal. Back to the line, it's Stelnoff in across the Canadian line. Dumped back out to center ice, a race for the puck. The Soviet player got there and to the line. Over on the left wing now to Kuchin. Kuchin trying to set things up, takes the shot, and the rebound is picked off by Arneal and dumped off the boards to center ice. Now it's Vasiliev forced back into his own zone. Working out against Habscheid. Gets it ahead for Semenoff. In across the line. Semenoff dumping it to the corner. Butcher goes in there. Gets to it ahead of Kuchin. Ahead for Mike Moeller. He deflects it out to center ice. It's fired back in offside. And the face-off will take place outside the Canadian line.
Well, we're getting a close-up view of Vladimir Sirikov, one of the highly regarded defensemen in the Soviet Union for junior competition, and number 4 is a good one, left-handed shot. Handles the puck extremely well, good lead passes, and he's played well for them so far in this tournament.
One thing the Canadian team I don't think can do in this third period is go into a defensive style of play. They have to continue with the same aggressive forechecking play that carried them to the 3-0 lead, I would think.
They've got to do what got them the 3-0 lead in the first 2 periods. They can't afford to go back into a defensive shell.
Now it's Ryu out of his own zone. He goes rink wide for LeMay and across the line. LeMay tried to play it to the corner. It was intercepted by Shapitsin and dumped to center ice. The Canadian team reorganized with Patrick shooting it back in. Along the boards, Ryu trying to poke it out. It goes loose for LeMay. LeMay feeds it in front. There's nobody there. It comes back to the line, and the Soviet player tried to get out. That was Shapitsin, but he was hammered by Patrick. And it's brought back by Murray at the line. LeMay steals it now, trying to feed it in front. And Shapitskin coming back gets the puck for the Soviets. A long lead pass for Yashin in the center ice area. Knocked down by Patrick. They jam in against the boards. Poked free by Ryu for Murray. He had it knocked off his stick. Murray goes to the corner, centered it, and it was deflected down the ice by Samolov, the goaltender. Now it's Randy Moeller into the center ice area for Eakin. A back pass just behind Morrison. Dumped back to center ice. Circling in the center ice area is Sear, back to his own line. It's Randy Moeller off the boards now for Eakin. Eakin brings it in. It's dumped back out by the Soviets. Now on the right side, here's Kadaisov at the line. He has it taken away, and it's flipped down the ice by Sear. Racing back after it is Kalazov. Kalazov up on the left side. The Soviets dump it down the ice, and Nyland goes back for Team Canada. 17:33 remaining in the third period. Canada leading 3-0. The Soviets managed to keep it in the Canadian zone. Then it's broken up and shot down the ice. Kalazov goes behind his own goal up along the boards for Starkov. Starkov rink wide for Kadaisov. His pass knocked down by Sear, and he simply dumps it down the ice. A race for the puck, and Kurashev got back there first. It's loose at center ice again. Sear brings it in for Canada. He tried to slide it to Eakin, and it's intercepted by Biakin. Right side, Vasilyev. Vasilyev still with it, takes a shot, rebound, and it's cleared by Sear. In back of the goal, Carey loses it to Vasilyev. He pokes it to Kushin. Kushin then is knocked down, and it's dumped to center ice by Moeller. Now in the center ice area, Strebe for Wilson. Wilson gets around one man in across the line. Working towards the corner, tried to center it, but it was knocked down by the Soviets, and they bring it to the line. Kushin over on the far side for Sirikov. Into the center ice area. Now it's picked up by Morrison. Morrison in across the line for Wilson. He couldn't get a shot away. Wilson trying to control it as it bounces off his stick, and the Soviets' Kushin is forced back into his own zone. Semenov going back of his own goal. 15:58, the time left in this third period. Broken up by Dave Morrison. He gets it over for Strebe. Strebe to Wilson, and a quick shot, the save by Samolov. Now it's brought back by the Soviets. Roshin at the line. He was stopped. Now trying his hand. Steloff, he fired it wide. Back to the point for Semenov. He dumps it into the corner. Kushin from the corner trying to feed it to the point for Roshin. It hopped over his stick to center ice. Stelnov back into his own zone. 15:25 as the Soviets make a change. The time remaining in the third period. Canada leading 3-0. Shapitsin weaving his way out to the Canadian line, but the Soviets are whistled down on the offside. Well, we've talked about players of junior age playing in the National Hockey League, about members of this team who have been drafted, and those are the 4 players on the Team Canada roster who have not yet been drafted. But as Fergie pointed out earlier, Gary Nyland, the big defenseman from Portland, Gord Kluzak, another big rear guard, they'll likely go high in the first round.
Well, they certainly will, Don, all 4. Of course, Pierre Ryu, Quebec Major Junior, he'll also go high. He's a sniper.
And Paul Cyr, the other who has not been drafted, he has scored a goal in this game. In the second period, he made it 3-0 for Canada. Here's Habshide. He belongs to Edmonton. Stopped at the line. Scott Arneal, who will play with the Winnipeg Jets, feeds it back to the point. Now it's Russian starting out as the Soviets bring it in across the line. Good play by Kluzak. He took Russian in against the boards. It's dumped to the line and out to center ice with 14:40 left in this third period. The Soviets fire it into the Canadian zone. As it's touched, icing is called against the Soviet Union. Today's game is coming to you from the Winnipeg Arena. Play underway as the Soviets bring it into the Canadian zone. It's broken up at the line, but Starkov manages to keep it in. Now it's Randy Moeller going into the corner. Good body check as he knocked Kudryasov down. Here comes LeMay. Lead pass for Murray. He's got a breakaway. Murray going in. He shoots. Saved by Samolov. He was just a little off balance as he took that lead pass, but Samolov stood his ground. And now it's cleared down the ice by the Soviets. No icing on the play. It's waved off. Randy Moeller goes back of his own goal. He's played a strong game back in defense for the Canadian team. Here's Murray in across the line. Lead pass, but LeMay was offside.
Good play by Troy Murray. And here's a good look at the last rush by Troy Murray. University of North Dakota hockey player. Good play. Stick on the ice. Somewhere to pass the puck to. Moves right in, and a good save by the Russian goalkeeper. And he didn't know where it was.
3-0. Team Canada leads. Samolov has made some good saves for the Soviets in this hockey game. And some erratic shooting has also cost the Canadian team, or they could be comfortably in front. Good defensive play there by Cyr as he just got his stick down to knock it away from Vasilyev. Now into the center ice area. Morrison in across the line. Here's a chance for Team Canada. Penalty is coming up. As Eakin was spun around, Cyr couldn't get his stick on it. Out front again, and it hopped over the stick of Morrison in front of the goal. And the penalty is coming up against the Soviet Union.
Good smart play by Mark Morrison. He puts Cyr right in again, and he is a smart little hockey player. Plays the Victoria Cougars, and good draft by New York Rangers. 150-pounder who can play. And there's the penalty taken by the Soviets right on the play right in front of the goal.
Igor Stelnov, the Soviet defenseman, will be sitting out the next 2 minutes. The Canadian team would like to see him back on the ice a lot sooner than that, however, as they'd like to capitalize in this man advantage situation. The goal here could all but finish the Soviets in this hockey game. The Canadian team looking for its third straight win. Back to the line. Boutillier fakes a shot. In back of the goal for Morrison. No really set power play unit for the Canadian team. As Coach Dave King said, the line that's up is the one that usually goes out. Now it's Morrison controlling it back of the net to Boutillier. Shot right on. The rebound is just jammed wide by Cyr. Out front again. To the point now. Boutillier spots it. Scores!
Set up again by Mark Morrison. He's just done an absolute incredible job behind the net, setting up plays. It's a perfect place to really be unattended. Puts it back to Boutillier. Boutillier just winds up and just drives that puck. Notice again how he moves in about 2 strides into the center ice area. That's where Dave King wants him to move in. We're seeing it from another angle now. Again, Morrison putting that puck back to Boutillier. Boutillier moving about 3 strides into the center ice, driving it right up in the top corner.
Big goal for Team Canada. They're now in front 4-0 with 12:48, the time remaining in the hockey game.
And number 9, James Patrick.
They moved that puck around so well. And when we were talking with Coach Dave King, as I mentioned, no really set unit on the power play.
They're just going with each and every line. And you know, Don, that's a perfect way to instill real team unity.
Well, of course, this Canadian team will be playing with much more confidence if they should come off this one with a victory. Roshan in across the line for Yashin. Yashin moving right into the slot. He couldn't get a shot away as the Canadian team was covering up. Good defensive job by Struby, who managed to get back into that slot and tie up the Soviet player. The puck loose in the Soviet zone. Morrison has lost his stick. He tried to kick it to the corner. Picked off by Roshan over on the wing for Yashin. Back to Roshan, moving in. Slap shot, and it's gloved up into the stands by Moffat.
Great save by Mike Moffat. Good shot by Yashin. That was a super save. Moffat got his glove hand right up in the top of that corner of the net. Here's Yashin coming down now. Now watch his play. Moves Pluzak out of there. Good shot. Now watch his save. Good glove hand save by Mike Moffat. Good angle on that. Good coverage.
Mike Moffat in the tournament so far has given up just one goal. That goal scored a shorthanded tally, by the way, by the Soviet Union, or by the Finnish national team in the opening game of the tournament, as Canada won 5-1. He plays for the Kingston Canadians. He's been drafted by the Boston Bruins. And he shut out the Soviets so far in this contest with 11:53 remaining in the game. It's shot into the Soviet zone as it's touched by Tierkov. Icing is called against Canada. It's going to be a busy day here in the Winnipeg Arena, Fergie. You and I are going to be here for the better part of this Boxing Day holiday.
Yes, we are. Catch 3 games tomorrow in Bloomington, Minnesota.
And wherever you're looking in on this Boxing Day, across this nation of ours, we hope that you have had a very happy and safe holiday season. Along the boards, the Canadian team unable to get it out. A shot from the point by Beloff, and Moffat kicked that one out. Now a lead pass for Vasiliev. He couldn't control it. Tierkov back in his own zone, loses it. Here's a chance right in front as Eakin tried to center it. It goes in the corner, off turning, and they score! Half-side!
Mike Moeller doing a fine job once that puck is brought over into the corner. Mark Habscheid right out in front of that net. You know, he's had a tough time putting that puck in the net today. He's had plenty of opportunities, just seemingly a very unselfish hockey player. Again, we're getting another look at it. Moeller doing the work in that corner. Habscheid left all alone out in front of that net. A very poor defensive play by the Soviets.
Starkov shoots it in. Moeller and Arneal draw assists on the goal by Habscheid. Flipped in by LeMay. It goes loose in the corner. Taken there by Starkov. Ryu almost stole it at the side of the goal, and the Soviets dump it to center ice. Troy Murray is back to pick up the puck. Now it's Butcher into the center ice area. Looking for Murray. Too far. It slid into the Soviet zone. Murray takes the Soviet player Kalazov in against the boards. The puck goes loose, and it's brought out by the Soviets. Kadaisov in across the line, working from the corner, trying to feed it out front, and he couldn't control it as he was being tied up by the Canadian defenseman. Now the Soviets get it again. Shepta in the corner, taken in against the boards by Butcher. Out front to Starkov. Quick shot, but another glove save by Moffat.
Good save by Moffat again on Starkov, and Starkov is one of the brilliant young players. Here we'll catch you in a replay. Comes into number 8, Starkov, and quick shot. Good glove save again by Mike Moffat. Covers up the rebound this time. He's kicked a few out back in the slot this third period.
.10:19 is the time remaining. 5-0. Team Canada leading the Soviet Union. As Dave King was saying before the game, remember the 8-1 loss in the Canada Cup.
They're really taking it out on them today.
Now it's Pluzak, back of his own net. Just 17 years of age, Pluzak, a 6'3", 200-pounder playing with Billings. In across the line, Eakin tried to poke it to the goal mouth. It was cleared to the boards. It goes back to the Soviet goal again. Picked up by Morrison. Morrison, with Patrick moving in from the slot, tried to center it. It comes right across the goal crease. And nobody was there as Yashin brings it out. Yashin in across the line. Having difficulties with Patrick, he's taken in against the boards by Patrick. Kluzak also moves in, and they hold it for a face-off.
Just another great shift done by Mark Morrison. He's had an outstanding day today. Here he is behind the net again and gets it out right in front of the net. Back at it again, gets it across the goal mouth again, and Mark Morrison's had a pretty fair hockey game today.
Sergei Yashin for the Soviet team appears to have been clipped on the nose in that shoving match in the corner. Another face-off will take place in the Canadian zone as the puck bounces over the glass and out of play with 9:36 left in this third period. 5-0, Canada leading the Soviet Union. The Canadian team with previous victories 5-1 and 3-2 over Finland and Sweden. Sweden, the defending champion. Back to the line. Steloff took a shot, knocked down, and the Canadian team breaks out with Morrison. Lead pass for Wilson. He couldn't quite control it. Wilson feeding it out front. Knocked down by the Soviets, taken again by the Canadian team. As Strebe managed to steal it, a backhand pass went off Morrison's stick. He goes to the corner. Kerry Wilson also moves into the corner, and they hold it against the boards for another face-off.
Good close-up again of Kerry Wilson, and Kerry Wilson's had a strong game as well as he did the other night.
Fergie, that's not a bad fourth line out there today. Supposedly they've got some special assignments, but they're controlling and holding the play quite well out there.
Yes, they dipped right into Finland to pull out Kerry Wilson, too.
Kerry Wilson, a native of Winnipeg, playing with IFK in Helsinki. In the center ice area, the puck is deflected over the boards and out of play. Kerry Wilson has also been drafted by the Chicago Blackhawks, and the Blackhawks in town for tonight's game against the Winnipeg Jets, and they have their coaching staff here, and I'm sure they're pleased with the efforts of a fellow like Wilson and Murray, just as you are with the work of Scott Arneal, John.
Oh, definitely, John, definitely. Youngsters are playing well out there.
Now it's Nyland going back of his own goal. .8:41 is the time left in the hockey game. He tried to pass on the right side for Morrison, who was breaking in. And Nyland hammered Chapitsin in against the boards in front of the Team Canada bench. The pass into the center ice area knocked down by the Soviets. There's been some tremendous hitting in this hockey game by both teams. Now it's Nyland again at the line. A pass over on the wing. Here's a 2-on-1. Wilson and Morrison. Wilson moving into slot shot, and it's deflected up against the boards as Morrison went for the goal and collided with the Soviet goaltender Samolov. Morrison in front, can't get a stick on it, and it's cleared by Biakin. Now Starkov, lead pass for Kadaisov. He tried to give it back to Starkov, and he in turn tried to feed it in front and was knocked down by the Canadian team. Kerry Wilson goes back of his own goal. 7:44 is the time remaining in the game. Here's Mueller cutting from the corner, trying to play it in front. In back of the goal now, Mike Mueller gets it. Mike Mueller cutting in front, feeds it back to the line. Boutillier with a shot, he scores! I believe that was going wide of the net when it deflected off a stick or a skate into the Soviet goal.
Now some good work, of course, by Team Canada. Mike Mueller again gets that puck back to the point. Now the shot by Boutillier goes off the Soviet defenseman, number 7. And it's a goal for Paul Boutillier, his second of the night. But good work by Mike Mueller behind the net to get that puck back to the point.
I'd say, Fergie, that Kurashev really directed that puck in quite nicely for Team Canada, didn't he?
Yeah, he's a handy little fellow to have on your side.
That's what the work of a player in front of the goal will sometimes produce, and it was Scott Arniel in front of that Soviet goal. Khrushchev was trying to move him out of there, and the puck bounced off him and into the net. So it's 6-0 for Canada. Total attendance for the 3 games that have been played here in Winnipeg. Here's a chance for Yashin, feeding it out front, and Roshan was neatly tied up. The shot knocked down in front, deflected to the corner. Yashin taken in against the boards. He falls. The puck still loose in the corner. Shapitsin comes in to help out for Yashin. Yashin is spun around, and finally it's brought out by the Canadian team. Habscheid into the center ice area for Moeller. Moeller tried to play it back to him, knocked down by the Soviets and almost stolen by Scott Arniel. Shapitsin in across the line for Roshan. Roshan slap shot, and it hit Boutillier and went to the corner. Now, going in back of the goal and into the corner is Butcher. Up along the boards for Arniel. He fires it down the ice, and this will produce an icing call against the Canadian team. Don Whitman along with Gary Green, John Ferguson, John Wells, and Don Cherry at the Winnipeg Arena. Team Canada enjoying a 6-0 lead over the Soviet Union in this World Junior Tournament. Murray tried to work to the corner, broken up by the Soviets. A pass to Vasiliev. Vasiliev in across the line. Feeding it in front for Semenov. He couldn't get a shot away. Kluzak had done a good job in tying up Vasiliev. And finally, Kluzak holds it against the boards for the face-off. A moment ago, I started to give you the total attendance for the 3 games in Winnipeg. 18,176 with almost 11,000 watching action this afternoon.
There's Dave King there. He still can't manage to smile, Don. I don't know. If I was beating the Russians 6-0, I think I'd certainly crack a smile. How about you, Fergie?
I think there's a lot of people in Canada who are cracking smiles right now. These youngsters have played extremely well today.
Quite a difference when you skate out onto the ice representing your country in international competition. A lot of pressure on you, and these young fellas have certainly responded in this game this afternoon at the Winnipeg Arena. In the center ice area, it's Semenov for the Soviets. Too far for Vasiliev. Kluzak goes back into his own zone. The penalty coming up against the Soviet Union. Vasiliev. High sticking call against the Soviet player. So with 5:18 remaining, another power play opportunity for Team Canada.
Don, we're seeing things that really are uncommon with the Russians, and that is taking some penalties. They're intimidated by the score. We see there that bad, almost hooking, holding, whatever you want to really call it. Just a very bad penalty. But when it's 6-0, I think the Russians obviously know that this game is well over.
Soviet penalty, high sticking, the time 14:42.
Jim Patrick receiving some attention at the Canadian bench. He was the victim of that high sticking call against Vasiliev of the Soviet Union. The Canadian team now with Randy Moeller going back into his own zone for Eakin. Eakin for Morrison to Sear. In across the line, he lost it to Biakin. Biakin is pushed in against the boards by Eakin, and the Soviets try and clear it out. They're unable to get it out of there as Sear keeps it in at the line. 1:25 the time left in the penalty. Now it's Starkov back of his own goal for Biakin. Tyrikov on the left side to Starkov. He's got Truckno with him. Killing off this penalty, goes back to his own line to Tyrikov. So far, the Soviets have effectively killed off this penalty. A lead pass knocked down at the line. Here's Eakin with it. Eakin going back of the goal for Morrison. Morrison moving out. Backhand shot that is deflected back of the net. Eakin tried to center it. He was tied up by Biakin. It comes to Morrison to the line. Randy Moeller winding up. That shot hit a leg. Another shot, a weak one, slid off the end of Morrison's stick. And finally, the Soviets clear it down the ice with 3:50 remaining in the hockey game. 32 seconds in the penalty to Vasiliev. 6-0, Team Canada leading the Soviet Union. Brought in by Nyland. It deflects off a player to the corner, and the Soviets fired off the boards and down the ice. Now it's Nyland back of his own goal. Almost a bad move as he started out against Priak and then was forced back at the net again. Just 5 seconds left in the penalty. And Vasiliev steps back in the ice as Dave Morrison brings it in across the line. Flips it into the corner for Wilson. Wilson goes back of the net, dodges a check. Wilson still controlling it. Wilson now working to the corner, right out in front, and it slid off Morrison just wide. Wilson gets it again. Wilson for Team Canada. Playing it back in behind the goal. Strebe tried to center it. It goes off a leg, picked up by Morrison. Back to the point. Randy Moeller took a shot at the side of the net, the Canadian team, and Wilson was unable to control it as he had it in his skates and tried to get a stick on it but couldn't get the shot away. Well, it's 6-0. Canada leading the Soviet Union with 2:43 remaining. Let's again test your hockey knowledge. The last man to coach both a Memorial Cup winner and a Stanley Cup winner. Fergie, were you playing the year that he coached the Stanley Cup champions?
Oh,
you know the answer.
I don't know the answer to that one. I think I had 3 of the other ones. I didn't have that one.
The face-off to the right of Samolov in the Soviet goal. Habscheid is out there with Moeller and Arneal. 2:43. The time remaining in the hockey game. 6-0 Canada leading. Back to the line for Butcher. His shot is wide. Moeller back of the net for Habscheid, having a little difficulty controlling it. Habscheid, who plays for the Saskatoon Blades, a native of Swift Current, scored a goal, a pretty goal, earlier in this third period. Now it's Moeller up front. Arneal scores! Scott Arneal, who has been robbed several times and has had a lot of bad luck in front of that Soviet goal, finally got enough wood on that one to get it past Samolov.
Here's the replay here. Good work by Randy Moeller and Mark Habscheid. Goaltender Habscheid. Now the puck comes out to Arneal, who's right there where he should be. Puts the puck behind Shalamov, and it's a good thing. Watch this. Mike Muller's been a tower of strength in the corners all day. And Scott Arneal right in front of the net and puts it home. And that's been a real good hockey line, Mark Habscheid, Mike Muller, and Scott Arneal. There's got to be an awful lot of proud coaches in Canadian Major Junior Hockey today because they've done some pretty fine jobs with all these young hockey players they sent for this tournament.
And John, I think we would be remiss if we did not mention the fact that these teams are sacrificing their position in league play, etc., by letting some of this outstanding young talent go to the Canadian national team for this tournament.
You're right, Don, and a lot of them are playing today. You know, it's just a great thing for, it's a little measure of revenge also for Canadian hockey, and it just shows you the good product and how much hockey is getting better in Canada. There's no doubt about it. It's pretty good. They just put an outstanding game. Of course, Dave King is, you take a group of young all-stars and mold them together, and Dave King and Sherry Basson have done an excellent job with them.
7-0, Canada leading the Soviet Union. And it's been tough, as Bob Strum was saying. Many of these young fellows, some of them, one just 17 years of age, away from home over the Christmas season. However, they are getting their Christmas present a day late, I guess you might say, with this domination of the Soviet Union.
Don, hockey's always been a sacrifice. You got to sacrifice to be a hockey player. These young boys are doing it.
Chance again for Canada as Arneal just flipped it wide. Samolov was down in the Soviet goal, and it was just flipped wide as first Moeller, then Habscheid, and then Arneal had a chance. Here's the Soviets, and a shot just goes wide as Biakin broke in on the wing. Now it's loose in the Canadian zone and finally brought out by Butcher over on the right side for Moeller. Back to Butcher. Butcher trying to feed it in front, and Arneal couldn't catch up with it. Arneal working from the corner, moving out in front, a backhand shot, and a good save by Samolov as he got that one between his legs.
Great smart move by Scott Arneal, heading for the net too. Good save by Samolov, but Arneal was in the corner, come out in front of the net, looked for someone to pass to. Everybody else is tied up and headed right for the net. A good save by Shalamov.
Well, what was your answer to our hockey quiz? If you said Rudy Pillis, you were absolutely right. The St. Catharines Teepees twice, and the Chicago Blackhawks in '60 and '61. And, of course, Rudy Pillis was also involved with the Winnipeg Jets in the World Hockey Association.
A good hockey player played in that TP team, Stan Mikita.
Had some pretty good ones wearing the uniform of the Blackhawks, too.
That's quite true, Don.
LeMay from the corner, moving in front, quick shot, and the save by Samilov. 35-20 now, the shots on goal in favor of the Canadian team. They have totally dominated this third period, and it's so uncharacteristic of the Soviets. In international matches in the past, it's usually they who control play in the third.
That's quite true. Here's another chance.
In front of the net, they jam away at it again as Murray took the shot, and it hit a traffic jam in front of the Soviet goal. Kadayasov coming out of his own zone, overskated it. Now Belov tries a long lead pass. Shepta with a long shot wide of the goal. Kadayasov back to the point. Kurashev took a shot, knocked down in front. 40 seconds remaining in the hockey game. 7-0, Team Canada leading. And you'll see them storm out of there and head for goaltender Mike Moffat at that final buzzer. Lead pass, LeMay looking for Patrick. It went off a skate. Now it's played in back of the net. Murray goes in there for the Canadian team. Murray controlling it in the corner. Finally, he loses it with 18 seconds remaining. Here's a 2-on-1 break for the Soviets. Now it's step in across the line, and Butcher was able to get back and cover up. 9 seconds remaining. The countdown has begun at the Winnipeg Arena. The Canadian team moving it back into their own zone. They're quite content to run out the clock, and it's 7-0 Canada over the Soviets in the World Junior Tournament, and that produces a standing ovation from 11,000 spectators at the Winnipeg Arena as Mike Moffat is mobbed in the Canadian goal. He had 20 saves to make during the course of this game. He made a couple of key saves, particularly in that second period, that really provided inspiration for that young Canadian club.